Is 2019 the year of the pop-up camera? Let's find out. Okay guys, so before we get going, don't forget, subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification icon. You'll be notified anytime I do any tech news or tech reviews. Okay, so 2018 has come and gone. That seems to be the year of the notch, but 2019 seems to be the year of the pop-up camera. Now these are linked, believe it or not, because the idea of the notch was to give as much screen to the phone as possible. And phone manufacturers have realized that it was a love-hate relationship with the notch. So they've tried to address this, and this is just my opinion, with a pop-up camera. Now, lots of manufacturers have tried to do pop-up cameras, and you may not even realize it. I mean, from the big names like Samsung with their A80, the OnePlus 7 Pro, the Asus Zenfone 6, the Realme X, the Oppo V15 Pro, and then you've got the Xiaomi Mi Mix 3, and then I think you've got the Oppo Reno. Those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head. And some of these came out at the end, well, you know, towards the end of 2018, but they weren't that great. You know, they were decent phones with decent specs, but they were just decent. Now, and I don't think it's until, I would say, OnePlus 7 and Samsung has jumped on that people are starting to take notice of pop-up cameras. But is it a step in the right direction? Because they come with pros and cons. The whole point of it is to give you more screen space. But you can get the extra, you know, few millimeters of screen. But is it worth the sacrifice? Well, I don't know. And let's talk about some of these cameras, because not all pop-up cameras are created equal. They're not all the same. So the Asus and the OnePlus 7 Pro that have just been released, both of those are new phones. They both have pop-up cameras, but they both pop up in completely different ways. The OnePlus 7 Pro pops up out of the phone. It seems okay, doesn't seem that bad. The Asus Zenfone 6, it's the rear camera that flips up to also be a front-facing camera. Now, that to me, again, it's just a different approach to having a clear screen. But is it better? Or like I say, is it just different? Well, only time is going to tell. But when I look at the Asus phone, I'm not really impressed with how that looks. It looks like it's going to break, it's going to snap off. But saying that, the OnePlus 7 Pro, again, when that pops up, it looks like it can come off easily. Now, OnePlus have said with their phone, if you drop it, if it goes into free fall, the gyroscopic sensors inside the phone will retract the camera and pull it back inside the phone. In theory, but I don't think there's going to be many people that are going to try that. There may be some big influencers that have one spare that may want to give that a go, but the thing is, you actually run the risk of wrecking the whole phone and not just the camera. Because if you drop it, it may retract, but you may break the whole phone, which is really kind of pointless. So they've said they've tested it and it will work, but I don't know. I just think it's something that it's not needed. Okay, so the other thing is camera quality. They're not all the same. OnePlus's new camera isn't going to be as good as, let's say, Samsung or Apple or Huawei. But you know, you are getting a better screen. And so it's just things to think about. There's pros and cons to having a pop-up camera. So let's look at the pros, shall we? The pros of having a phone with a pop-up camera is that you pretty much guaranteed an almost bezel-less screen. But that is it really. That is it. There's no other pros to it. Now, there are a few cons, which we're going to go through now. So you've got to weigh up whether it's worth upgrading to a pop-up camera. You know, you get an extra little bit of real estate on the screen, but you're sacrificing in other areas. So the cons are you going to get a case for it? Are you going to be stuck having to buy a manufacturer's case at $50, $60, $70? And do you really want to run the risk of it breaking? I mean, it's not going to be waterproof at all. Now, some manufacturers don't claim their phones to be waterproof, but you know, when you've got a sealed unit, well, an almost sealed unit with no external moving parts, it's going to be more resistant to weather than something with moving parts that come in and out of the phone. Just something to consider. Then there's the fact that it could be easily damaged. What if you're holding the phone and it tries to activate and it's being held down? Is that going to ruin the motor? Are you going to be out and about in a, let's say, on the beach? You want to take a picture, some sand blows across. Are you going to get grit and dirt in the mechanism? Is that going to wreck the mechanism? Is it going to wreck the phone? What if water droplets get in? Is that going to wreck the mechanism? Is that going to stop it from working? All things that we just need to consider. So we need to think long and hard about the pros and cons of having a pop-up camera in a phone. So I would say, don't get a pop-up camera. I don't think it's worth it. I think getting a camera with, or a phone with a good camera and a screen that you are happy with is better than compromising, having a slightly bit more real estate on the screen and having a dodgy camera setup, because I don't think we're there yet. I still think Samsung will come out with the under screen camera in, you know, years to come. Maybe not this year or next year, but I know they're working on it. It was mentioned, I think, last year in a presentation. They're trying to get a bezel-less screen with a multitude of sensors under the screen, including a camera. And I think it would be a massive step forward. It would be a game changer. But as it is at the moment, they're probably going through the motions, phone manufacturers that is, of just releasing incremental improvements, or improvements on phones that you may not really need or want, but because it's new, you may think that it's something you want. But again, bear it in mind, you get a better, bigger screen marginally, but you are sacrificing on the camera and possibly the camera quality. So guys, what are your thoughts on the pop-up camera? Comment below, let me know what your thoughts are. And if you've enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up. And if you've really enjoyed it, it would be very much appreciated if you would subscribe to my channel. So guys, I shall see you soon. Bye.